If you're thinking of a Corfu Flotilla holiday or are a newly qualified day skipper wondering if you'll have the skills needed as a first timer, this video should be for you. Late to sailing life, I'd only just got my day skipper ticket a few months before when we headed to Corfu for our first ever Flotilla holiday. After flying to Corfu town, it's a short drive to Gouvia Marina where sailing holidays have a major base. You may be waiting a while in the bar as you meet the fleet skipper, host and engineer that will lead the way. You also get time to provision. Ignore the tiny marina shop and walk out to the larger supermarket just 10 minutes walk away. It's cheaper and has way more choice. Then board your yacht, get organised and then find a nice restaurant for dinner. There is plenty of choice. The next morning after a briefing we all headed to the fuel dock nearby before making our way north to Kasiopi. Fleet leader briefed us on the conditions, recommended potential anchorages and warned us of any hazards before we set off. We decided to pick a quiet bay for our first anchoring test before heading north to Kasiopi where the fleet would meet up. You aren't made to follow along like a bunch of baby ducks, but instead have plenty of freedom to make your own decisions and take your own time en route there. The only caveat was to arrive within a window of time late that afternoon. With very light winds that morning, we motor sailed to the bay and by some miracle dug in the anchor first time. We swam in the warm water, used the paddle boards we'd hired and enjoyed lunch. And then as the wind picked up, as we'd been promised they would, we beat our way north, keeping clear of the Albanian coastline to starboard and safely made it to Kasiopi. Now the nerves would really kick in as we worried about the dreaded med mooring. We needn't have worried as the team gave us clear directions to get us in very calmly and safely alongside the fleet. Then it was on to welcome drinks before enjoying dinner at one of the recommended restaurants. The hostess gave us good tips throughout and helped to book up tables for us as we went along. Our second sail would take us from the north of Corfu and east to the Greek mainland. We had the choice of leaving late and sailing directly to our destination in one hit, or leaving earlier and detouring to a lunch anchorage. We chose the latter, setting a course for the small island of Vigo. It was then a 3-hour passage to the night stop, a small harbour set a short distance from the tiny village of Sagiada. We had great winds in the morning, and in less than 2 hours we were anchored up with few other boats to disturb us. By the time we reached Sagiada in the afternoon, the winds were howling down the valley sides, making for a hairy stern-first approach in through a very tight harbour entrance. Once we were safely in though, the team organised a great fleet dinner in the restaurant on the quay, as we all watched the sun dip behind Corfu in the distance. We'd head back out of Sagiada before heading south to beautiful Sivota. No easy stops on this leg, so we'd take the passage in one hit. This time we'd be staying on a small resort pontoon just over the hill from the town itself. It's a short but steep walk, but this is a good location to re-provision for our breakfast and lunches that we'd be having aboard in some locations. Water supply can be a real challenge in these small harbours, and we probably filled up before we needed to, which really wasted precious time the next morning as everyone queued for a solitary low pressure hose pipe. We'd hired 2 paddle boards. This really proved to be overkill, and they did take some effort to stow on the deck. Looking back, we'd just hire the one next time. We'd also hired an outboard for the tender. I think we only used it the once in the whole week, so I'd avoid that option next time too, and just paddle on the few times that we needed to use the tender. So there was one destination that everyone really wanted to visit, and that was Lakka on Paxos. It's a short sail across, but because Lakka is so popular, we all set off early, 8 AM, to make sure we could all get alongside on the quay. Personally, I'd have been happy staying anchored in the sheltered bay. It's absolutely beautiful, clear waters, sandy underneath, great anchorage. But they squeezed us all in on the quay and we enjoyed being there. The week was flying by and with just 2 days left we'd returned to Corfu. Some took the option to sail directly and stop on the southern beaches, whilst we went back to explore the Sivota Islands we'd only seen briefly the day before. As it turns out, this was a fortuitous choice, as a thunderstorm would terrify all of the other crews, including the lead boat, with extreme winds, heavy rains and dragging anchors. We could hear the distress chatter on the radio whilst we planned our own moves as the storm drifted our way. Luckily for us, it petered out and we had a calm sail up to Petriti. This holiday really boosted our confidence as sailors. It's very accessible with all the advice needed from the lead boat. We were surprised by the independence this gave us and the time to build our skills in a very safe cruising ground. So that's nearly it. One final sail up to Corfu, anchoring again in Beneteau, but this time it would be a lot busier with all the fleets waiting to head back into Gouvia just a few miles away. I can definitely recommend Sailing Holidays as a charter company. They're friendly, relaxed, and certainly knowledgeable about this area. As we all headed in, we'd hover outside the marina waiting for our turn to be called in by the lead boat. Mid-mooring is definitely a new challenge, but one I think I could now manage alone after a week of daily coaching. If you'd like to join us as we make for the Channel Islands this year, or continue our hikes on the Southwest Coast Path, just like and subscribe, it's completely free. Thanks so much for watching.